Well, as a coach, you think, well, I've seen everything, and you realize you never have seen everything. What is it like this whole last 24 hours been for you?
Well, surreal seems to be the common word, I think, for all of us. It's unique to anything that any of us really, I don't think we could have thought of this in our wildest imaginations, that this is what would be taking place. We understand it. We support the Big Ten. I certainly do. I know Gene Smith, our athletic director, does. We feel like it was the right decision and the right call. And, you started to sense as of last night that this potentially could be what takes place. I think there were just too much concerns about where this was headed.
You woke up this morning ready to play. Did you,
we did a
walkthrough. Did you have a coach have any reservations about putting your guys out there with the potential that someone could have a virus, maybe not tested positive for it yet?
I did. Yeah, I did. I had some concerns about that. I just had some concerns about, you try not to be reactionary, and I think we can all get a little reactionary when it comes to social media. But, I did. I think the unknowns were a concern. I think all of our players were in favor of playing, but they were also leaning on us to lead them and guide them and make the right decisions. But I did wake up with some concerns about whether it was the right move or not to play.
You guys had your walkthrough this morning, and then what? When did you find out? How did you find out? How did you tell your players?
So we had breakfast at 10 o'clock and came down and did a walkthrough in a room right by our breakfast room for about 45 minutes. It was pretty extensive, 45 minutes to an hour walkthrough. Gave them no indication anything other than we were going to be playing. We let them go and told them we were going to meet back in about an hour and a half. A couple of our staff members went for a walk around the city. We like Indianapolis, so we decided to take a walk around the city. And my athletic director, Gene Smith, called me right before it broke.
What time was that, about 11:30, 11:50?
That would have been, I'd have to check on my phone. That probably would have been around 11. I don't remember when it broke. But yeah, it would have been right around 11:15, 11:20.
Usually you have all the anticipation and excitement leading up to Selection Sunday. How is that situation now? How are you approaching and talking to the team about this?
We are assuming right now that we're going to play because I think that's probably the best way to go about it. We understand that the NCAA tournament is their decisions yet to be made on that. But we dismissed our guys for a couple days. They have a chance to go back and spend some time with family. And we'll, as of now, resume on Sunday night in preparations for the NCAA tournament. We'll have a watch party at my house and make plans, and we'll work out before that.
What was your immediate reaction to the phone call?
Gene's?
Yes.
Gene and I had been talking late last night and into this morning, and we had both talked about the idea that this was likely. So I can't say that I was too surprised, but obviously when you had teams warming up, I just was under the assumption that the day was going to go ahead and happen. So I was a little bit surprised.
Were you concerned when Fred Hoiberg got sick last night? Did that raise your concern level?
Yeah, I don't know if that particular situation concerned me too much. I just felt like, obviously if it would have been an issue where it was clear that he had the virus, but I don't know that I was alarmed about that situation as much as what you kept hearing about how quickly all of this can spread. But, we've been in contact with our medical professionals and really been trying to be guided by them.
You mentioned having some concerns about trotting your players out there for this tournament.
Yeah.
Safe to say you feel the same way about the NCAA tournament? Should it go on?
I think it's all happened so suddenly. I think that now maybe a couple days we'll have more information, and our medical professionals who are guiding us will have more information. It just was all that had happened yesterday. I think maybe made it all seem really quick to come back around and play the next day.
When you have to tell the guys, and like you said, guys are going to find stuff out on social media and stuff, but when you have to tell an Andre or Danny or your seniors that this is tournament is not happening and we don't know about the future, how does that strike you as a coach?
It's the hardest part. Certainly it's the hardest part. They get it, they understand, but it's the hardest part. Now we only have 2 seniors, which I guess makes it a little bit easier. we're still assuming that our season's going to continue. We've had a really, enjoyable last, 6 weeks. They all sat in that room and talked about how excited they are about continuing to play in the Big Ten tournament and in the NCAA tournament. They have a very good way about them right now. They do. So I think it's different if maybe you didn't feel that way, but it was a really hard conversation. The first person I called when I got the news and tried to figure out our schedule was Andre.
And usually when the season comes to an end, you're in the tournament, you're down by 20, you realize, okay, it starts to set in. You don't know if you've played your last basketball. That's a very unique situation.
It is. It's abrupt. It seems really abrupt. And again, I think we feel like we have to work under the assumption that we're going to be preparing on Sunday for an opponent. I think that's maybe the best way to go about it, but it is abrupt to go down that road in your mind that it could be over.
To say it's not played in March, maybe in May, say they postpone it. They don't necessarily cancel March Madness, they postpone it. What's your take on that if it's May Madness or June Madness instead?
I would love that idea. I would love that idea. I would, I understand if it needs to be canceled, but I would love the idea of postponing it and giving our young men an opportunity. And all the other, you think about the schools that are in it the first time or first time in a while. Rutgers in our league is going to be in the tournament for the first time in a while. And you look and think about all the small schools, whether it's a Robert Morris who just clinched their berth. You'd love to be able to see those teams play in what I think is the most suspenseful, greatest sporting event around.
What will you do with your time going forward? If you don't know an opponent, you don't know if you're going to play, you can't go recruit, what are you going to do?
Well, it's a good question. I'll probably get to know my daughter a little better and my wife, and we'll spend, maybe might actually go out to dinner, and I might actually get the chance to read to my daughter a few times here this week. So that'll probably be what I'll do. You're right. We are not going out recruiting. So for a week that, the last 5 or 6 weeks you're working 78 hours a week, for that to be almost pulled to a halt is unique. It's going to be a unique feeling.
Would the last time you've not had a crazy busy March have been college? I mean, because as a coach, you're always busy this time of year.
Yeah.
Would that have been when you were a player, maybe, and your season would end?
Yeah, probably. Or, my first couple of years as head coach at Gardner-Webb, we didn't have much going on in March. Our March is pretty boring there my first couple of years. But yeah, it's been a while.
Coach.
All right,
Thanks,
good
guys.
luck. Stay
Thanks, guys. You too.
Appreciate you.
Yes.